Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. Another month is in the books, so here's everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for July 2021. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, another month is in the rearview mirrors. There was a ton of stuff I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for July 2021. A little bit of mixture of some stuff that's been on my wish list for a while. New releases, of course, there was a ton of those. And let's not forget, Barnes & Noble's 50% off Criterion sale was in full effect. I definitely took advantage of that. So there's quite a bit of titles to talk about. I'm just, we have months like this. August is shaping up to be a little bit slower in that regard. So there might be a little bit less in that video, but for July, there's definitely plenty to talk about. All right, let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. First up on the Blu-ray pile this month is Gerard Butler in Greenland. Now, I did get the Blu-ray edition, which is only available here in the States in Blu-ray. There is a 4K international version, which I may pick up down the line. I want to watch the movie first. This is a blind buy. But I am a fan of Gerard Butler, and, I've heard good things about the film. So, when it comes to importing, I don't mind it so much, and usually have to pay a little bit more of a premium to do so, but I want to make sure I enjoy it first. So I will be checking this one out, and I still hold out hope that the US will get its own 4K edition. I don't know if that will. I know they just greenlit a sequel, so maybe coming soon, who knows? But yeah, I'll be checking this one out. I'll let you know on Letterboxd what I think of the film. Now this one is a movie that I saw the artwork for it. I saw it was coming soon, and I like a good time travel story. So I wanted to give this one a shot, and that is The Two Worlds of Jenny Logan. This was a made-for-TV movie, and it does involve, it's like a romantic drama with some time travel involved. Now, it was made roughly around the same time as one of my favorite movies, Somewhere in Time, so I was kind of hopeful for it. And I think the premise started out really solid, but after watching it, I think the time travel thing became as easy as just like walking through a door. So there really wasn't much effort into that aspect. It was just kind of going back and forth a little bit. It's okay. I'm not sure I would recommend it though. I mean, if you're really diehard into time travel, you may enjoy this one. But I would give it a rent or digital rental or something first. But I gave this a shot. Didn't quite pan out for me, but there it is. The Two Worlds of Jenny Logan. This movie has been on my wish list for a couple years. It was always a little pricey, and there was also an issue where the first printing of this had, I think, an audio sync problem or something, but I love this movie. This is absolutely, I'm very happy it's finally in my collection. It has The Changeling. If you like if you're a fan of like supernatural ghost story type movies, I would highly recommend The Changeling. It is that fantastic. Despite the age of the film, it holds up extremely well. And I'm very happy we got a Blu-ray. I could just tell right now that they'll eventually do a 4K edition of this, and I'll be double dipping once again. But yes, The Changeling, I highly recommend it. And yes, pick this one up. This one, for some reason I own part 1 and part 3, but part 2, I don't know why I never picked up part 2. But with Halloween season coming up, I like to dive right into my horror stuff, and I wanted to revisit these films, and that is Insidious Chapter 2. Yeah, I don't have any explanation why I didn't have the second one. I have 1 and 3, like I said, but the second one I finally, just nailed it down, and it's complete on my shelf at this point. I still haven't seen past 3. I know they do like Insidious: The Lost Key, but and I heard that was not that good. But the first 3 movies, yeah, I'm a fan of them. So finally have part 2 in my collection. This one I picked up. Also, it's been on my wish list for years. I've owned the DVD a long time ago. And with the recent announcement that One Crazy Summer is coming to Blu-ray this month, actually I believe next week as of the recording of this video, finally it was time to own Better Off Dead on Blu-ray, starring John Cusack. I always paired Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer together. I think it's because they have the same director. So, they're definitely great films, with John Cusack. They're crazy comedies. And I finally have a Blu-ray edition of this one. Very happy. So yeah, Better Off Dead. This one I picked up as I've seen it, but it's been a few years. I wanted to revisit it, and I did recently rewatch it, and it holds up. It's one of those movies that you just kind of have to get into the world of it. But Rian Johnson's Brick, great story. It has kind of a noir detective set in high school feel to it. You know, I remember when I first watched this, I'm like, why is everybody acting this way? And then it's the style of the film. So, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt stars in it. You know, it's a very entertaining, like I said, high school noir film, and it really has a good just energy to it. So yeah, I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the director. Definitely give that one a shot. This one was recently reissued. I used to own the Blu-ray a long time ago. Just, you know, I had to sell a bunch of Blu-rays a while back, but you know, I'm still kind of chipping away at picking those up again. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm hoping that a lot of the Kevin Smith films get a reissue. I would really like to, you know, get, of course, Dogma, I think, is on a lot of people's wish list. I'd love to pick up the Blu-ray edition of that one, but yeah, and we also have, of course, Clerks 3, which is coming out, so maybe one day we'll get all the films once again in, you know, available to buy. But I always enjoy Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. It's basically like the universe, you know, the Kevin Smith universe, just all in one movie, and that's why I really like it. Yeah, big fan of the film. Glad to have it again on Blu-ray. As I mentioned earlier, July was Barnes & Noble's 50% off Criterion sale, and I definitely made great use of it. But truth be told, I did pick up a lot of these from Amazon when they price matched. Not because I didn't want to support Barnes & Noble, which I always want to do that with the brick and mortar, especially when they support physical media. But whenever I went to the stores, a lot of the times the titles on my wish list weren't actually there. They've shrunk down their selection in a lot of locations. So unfortunately, even the website had a lot of back ordered or not available. So Amazon, of course, stepped in, and I picked up a lot. And I actually still have a few outstanding back orders from them. One's actually arriving today, so that will appear in August haul video. But yeah, I did still manage to pick up a lot this particular month. So the first one I did pick up was from Alfonso Cuarón, and that is Y Tu Mamá Tambien. I saw this one a long time ago. I'm a big fan of Alfonso Cuarón, and I really, you know, he's a very unique filmmaker, and he has a great vision. This one I've only seen one time before, but I remember it's you know, it's a Cuarón film. But yeah, it really is kind of like a coming of age story, and if you're a fan of the director, I would highly recommend you pick this one up. This one was also on my wish list for a while. I made sure to definitely get it for this particular sale, and that is House. I love a good supernatural story, and I especially love a good Japanese horror story, you know, or supernatural. I think they do it really great. This one is no exception. I'm a big fan of this film. It's one I can, you know, typically you watch movies like this, a lot of people, you know, during, you know, Halloween months, but I could watch this one anytime. So I'm finally glad I have this one in my collection, and I can't wait to rewatch this one. I'm very excited. Also caught up on a few Kurosawa films that, you know, were just on my wish list for a while. For some reason or another, I just haven't had them on Blu-ray. Rashomon, you know, this one has inspired so many films using the same style and the same, you know, the narrative. So this one sets the benchmark for that. You know, it's a story that's told from, you know, multiple different angles, and there's a little bit of truth and falsehood in every version of the story. And I think Kurosawa, the original, does it best. So I highly recommend, you know, watch this one. It's a great film. This one was on my I would say wish list for a while. Well, you know, it's been on my, you know, want to get on Blu-ray for a while, and Criterion announced it, and it just came out recently. Bringing Up Baby with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn, who I think are two of the greatest actors of that era. You know, I just rewatched The African Queen the other day, and Katharine Hepburn is just fantastic in that. But yeah, Bringing Up Baby, classic Hollywood cinema, and I'm very happy this came out on Blu-ray. Ingmar Bergman is one of I think greatest directors and storytellers, and honestly, it's like I still want to get that complete box set from the director. I think Criterion did a great job on that, but in the meantime, I still have a couple of his individual releases, and Summer with Monica, I just watched this the other day. Oh, This one is, it's you know, it's hopeful but frustrating, you know, with you know, idealistic, you know, overtones from the beginning of the film to just reality and just frustration at the end. This one is a classic Bergman film. You know, just get it. Summer with Monica, highly recommend it. I also caught up on a bunch of Wes Anderson flicks this month from Criterion. I've seen all of these, but once again, I just wanted to get them on Criterion. The Royal Tannenbaums. I'll admit it, it's probably I would say it's not my favorite of the Wes Anderson films, but it's not the least favorite. The least favorite is still Bottle Rocket. I don't know, for some reason that one just, it's just, I still like it, but it's just not, you know, I go for, you know, the more later films with Wes Anderson. But yeah, Royal Tannenbaums, great cast in this one, great cast. But I finally have this one on Blu-ray and from the Criterion. This one I just rewatched the other day, Darjeeling Limited. I forget how much I like this one. I think it's beautifully shot, fantastic cast of characters. I think it's one of the benchmarks of a good Wes Anderson film. He uses a lot of the same actors, but whenever he brings in new people, it's like they've been there for years. Like they've worked together for years. They're Darjeeling Limited. You know, this one I feel gets a lot of like, it's very underrated in my opinion. Watch this one. Great cinematography, cast is awesome, and it is a good story. So I recommend this one highly. Another from Kurosawa. This one I've seen a couple times. I've never owned a physical copy of it, but I wanted to add it to the collection, and that is Dreams. You know, this is later Kurosawa, so it definitely has a different feel, and it's more mature, you know, direction from Kurosawa. So it's not your, you know, your samurai film. It's really more of a think piece, but visually also really great film. I think Kurosawa did a fantastic job, and I also feel it's one of his more underrated movies. And this one I absolutely had to pick up. It just came out a few months ago, or not too long ago. The World of Wanker. I'm a fan of this director big time, and even though I haven't seen all of the films on this set, I've seen 3 of them, actually now 4 that I've had the collection for a couple weeks now. But yes, if you're a fan of this director, I would highly recommend you pick this one up, and also wait for the sale, because I think it retails for like $200 or something. So when you get to 50% off, it goes down to about $100. But I recommend it. I've seen, like I said, I've seen 3 or 4 of his films now, and I can't wait to get to the other ones. You know, there's such a great storytelling, you know, narrative from the director. And also visuals are fantastic. And there's some great characters in all of his films. So yeah, I would recommend it. The box set itself is kind of a weird design. It's almost like you're performing surgery every time you want to like pop out a movie. But you know, Criterion does a good job with their supplementals, and I can't wait to dive into this fully. I'm still working my way through the set. I recommend definitely pick this one up on Criterion Blu-ray. July was a pretty heavy month when it came to 4K Blu-ray releases. There's a lot here. A lot of steelbooks, and of course, I did pick up a few catalog stuff along the way. So the first one I did, I want to talk about is Almost Famous from director Cameron Crowe. It includes both the theatrical and the bootleg cut. I revisited this one as I picked up the 4K. I always forget how good this is. You know, it's really a fantastic movie. Great soundtrack, characters are amazing, and Cameron Crowe as a writer and director, yeah, if you're a fan of his, you definitely know what you're getting into, and I think Almost Famous is probably one of his best known works. So yes, pick up the 4K, it's absolutely worth it, and also cool looking steelbook too. This one is the latest from Arrow Video. Another Dario Argento film. I'm glad that they're cranking these out, and there's also a new one. There's one coming out this month, and they just announced another one. But yeah, the Bird with the Crystal Plumage on 4K Blu-ray. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of the director. Great visual style. It's a nice mystery, and it looks great on 4K Blu-ray. I'm a fan of the director, so this one for me was a no-brainer, and I highly recommend you pick this one up. Also, the latest, kind of a spin-off from the Saw franchise, that stars Chris Rock, and that is Spiral. Of course, got the Best Buy exclusive steelbook edition of this one. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it really, you know, I know they like to try new spins on, you know, like a reboot or something like that. And it's kind of like a spin-off. It's not a reboot or a resetting of the Saw franchise. It exists in the same world, but I thought it was fine. I didn't think it really invented anything new for the franchise. But honestly, the identity of the, you know, the quote-unquote killer was very easy to figure out. Like, it's probably the easiest that in the whole franchise to like kind of like, you know, connect the dots. But I think it's fine. It's actually a really great, like visually and audio-wise, 4K presentation. I did a review if you want to check that one out. But if you're a fan of the Saw franchise, you'll probably enjoy Spiral. This one was an import from Arrow UK. One of my favorite movies. It's definitely in my top 50. And this was one I was very surprised they were doing a 4K edition. Unfortunately, it's not available in the States. You have to import this one. But True Romance on 4K with the Steelbook. First off, the Steelbook is gorgeous. I just did a review if you want to hear all my thoughts on it. But yeah, check that video out. This one for me was a no-brainer. Honestly, I was going to import this one. I didn't care. This one was absolutely on my want list. And oh yeah, it's a great film. It's got great, you know, Tarantino words with Tony Scott directions. So yeah, True Romance on 4K Blu-ray is available for those who aren't aware. This one was, I think, the second movie. Yeah, this was the second movie I watched going back to the theaters, you know, due to the whole COVID thing and the shutdown. And it's now out on 4K Blu-ray with the Best Buy Steelbook, and that is A Quiet Place Part 2. Good movie, good movie. Not quite to the level of the first one. I think the first one's still, you know, a lot better, but I still really enjoy this one. And audio-wise, it's top-notch. It's a great Dolby Atmos track on this. And if you're a fan of the first film, you should definitely check out A Quiet Place Part 2. Another new release this month, which premiered on HBO Max, and I think it did show up in theaters, and that is the 2021 Mortal Kombat. This one honestly had an amazing opening sequence. I think the opening was great, but the rest of the story is not so good. It really has to do with the main character. That's really my biggest issue with the film. And also some of the middle sections of the movie were a little bit boring, but you know, if you're a huge fan of Mortal Kombat, you're probably going to like this, and I really enjoy the 4K Steelbook edition of this one. I think it looks pretty sharp, and the picture and audio are really good as well. Keeping with the Mortal Kombat theme, I also wanted to pick this up because I heard really good things about it, and they're releasing a second, I guess a sequel to this one in about a month, and that is Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. The animated feature I heard is really good. So this one's a blind buy. I haven't watched it yet, but I will be doing so very shortly, and I will let you know my thoughts in Letterboxd. This was one of my favorite Guy Ritchie films, and that is Snatch. Got a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray release. This one also has a Steelbook, which, you know me, I'm a Steelbook collector, but I really did not like the artwork on the Steelbook. So I went with the slipcover. And, you know, like I said, this is one of my favorite Guy Ritchie films. I think it's got a really good 4K transfer. And the audio is also really, really excellent here. So if you're a fan of the film, definitely pick up Snatch on 4K. This one I picked up because I owned the Blu-ray, but I really wanted to give this an upgrade. And I saw a clip recently that kind of renewed my interest in revisiting this one. And that is Nicolas Cage and Knowing. I'm a fan of the director. The director did Dark City and, of course, The Crow, which are some of my favorite films. And this one's okay. This one's not quite up to that level, but I think this has got to be a good 4K transfer. I haven't watched the 4K yet, so I'll let you guys know. I might even do a review. But yeah, Knowing on 4K. Movie, like I said, is okay, but I think the 4K experience will really amp this up. So I'll definitely be you know, giving you my thoughts on that down the line. This one is from Neil Blomkamp, the director, and I think it's probably the movie that really he gets a lot of hate for. It's an okay movie, it is, but I really want to watch this on 4K, and I may do a review for the channel. But that is Chappie, starring Hugh Jackman. I remember watching this, and I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine, so I may have to, you know, I'll be revisiting this one shortly, and probably give you my thoughts on it again, but, you know, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say. It's definitely not, you know, like Elysium or District 9 level, but I think this is still worthwhile, and I'll be checking this one out again very shortly. This one I got, I'll be honest with you guys, I got it purely to review for the channel. But, and revisiting this one after a long time, it didn't hold up. But the reviews out there, I don't know, I'll probably sell this one very shortly. That is Howard the Duck. Look, Leah Thompson for me, you know, is a treasure. So she's really the only reason I watch this one. But, you know, it comes in a steelbook and their slipcover edition. I know they're fans of the film and everything, but it's just, you know, as being a YouTuber, you want to really get, you know, stuff out there, and people want to hear your thoughts on new releases. So there you go. Howard the Duck review is up on the channel if you want to hear my thoughts about the picture quality and audio. This one, I always liked this one. They just released Space Jam: A New Legacy, but the original Space Jam is on 4K. I'll admit it, the Steelbook edition is not the best, but I still, you know, I like a good Steelbook, and unless the artwork is completely awful, I'm probably going to pick it up. Yeah, this one definitely, comparing it to A New Legacy, so much better, so much better. And I think it still holds up really well. You know, Michael Jordan is great in it, and I think visually and audio-wise, they did a good job with the 4K. So if you're a fan of this film, I highly recommend you pick this one up. And finally this month, from director Edgar Wright, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on 4K Blu-ray and Steelbook. I am a huge fan of the movie. I think it's Edgar Wright's one of his better movies, and their cast is fantastic, really good story, and the 4K disc is a great visual experience, and the audio is also really top-notch. I highly recommend you pick up the 4K edition if you're a fan of the film. It's well worth your purchase price, and it's really, I think I'm so happy this one's out on 4K. So yes, absolutely pick this one up. So that is everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for July 2021. Now it's your turn in the comments section below. Let me know what you picked up this month. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.